Welcome to Big Blend Radio with travel writer Linda Kissam, the food, wine, and shopping diva. Welcome, everyone. So excited. Today is the very first episode of Diva Linda's podcast here on Big Blend Radio. Linda Kissam, the food, wine, and shopping diva. She is on our shows every first Saturday, but it is the new year, so this is the first one of 2025. And if you're going to start off the year right, you better start it off with some good wine, right, Diva Linda? That's what we're doing today.
Absolutely.
Talk about good wine.
This really is a great wine. Oh, this is a great find.
Oh,
especially because we have a white wine for red wine drinkers.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, we're going to talk about 3 wines. 2 are exceptional, and the third is really good. So
yeah, I want to tell everyone the winery name is Ghost Hill Cellars. It's based out of Carlton, Oregon. And we have Cameron Bauer on the show, and he loves his wine. And so welcome to the show, Cameron. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me this morning.
Hey, we're excited about this. I want the white wine, the Blanc, the Pinot Noir Blanc. We need to just jump in there real quick because it is really good. And Nancy and I, my mom and I have been really spoiled because we lived in South Africa and they do really good white wines. And then we got here and then we had to start searching. And the white wines of this country have improved considerably over the last 10 years. But this white wine, we both sat down and went, oh, we found another good one. This is exciting. And we paired it with a wonderful chicken dinner. Everyone, you'll see this link. I'll put that out there for everyone. And Linda's got a wonderful article linked in the episode notes. But it had a creamy based chicken sauce, a gravy that had the sweet onions from Melissa's. Got to give a shout out to Robert at Melissa's Produce. And we paired them with mashed potatoes. But this wine and that chicken and that gravy were like, and it goes with your article too. We made this before I read your article, Linda. I mean, Diva did the cooking. I'm not Diva, Eva Eldridge, you know her. She did the cooking, so everything turned out good. But you talked about seafood, but using a creamy sauce. So I think it is about the creaminess.
Yeah, they did a shrimp fettuccine with this particular wine, and it was, as you say, exquisite. The wine is smooth and elegant. For a white creamy, it's not over the top. I just really, and it's a Pinot of all things. So I'm gonna let Cam tell us a little bit about how this came to be, and the current price is how much? About $35, is that right?
$34 retail, yes.
And can you get it anywhere or just on your website?
You can get it on our website, ghosthillcellars.com, and of course you can come to our beautiful new tasting room in Carlton and buy some there as well.
Well, it's worth the
buy the case.
Yeah, by the case. Yeah. It's worth the journey. I'll tell you, whether the journey is on the internet or in the tasting room. So tell me a little bit about the Pinot Blanc. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I like to talk about wine is always good when it has a great story behind it, and our Pinot Noir Blanc has a fantastic story. We started our wine journey back in 1999. Just a little bit of background: our farm itself is an original 1906 farm. We have 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th generations of the family working on it. But in 1999, we made a big switch from beef cattle to wine, and we planted 16 acres of all Pinot Noir grapes. And then when we got into the wine business, we realized, oh, we don't have a white wine. And so we were sitting around with some winemaker friends of ours, and one of my very good friends from France said, why don't you try a Pinot Noir Blanc? And I said, I'd love to, but I don't know what it is. And so he went through the process of talking to us about Pinot Noir Blanc and what the possibilities were with Pinot Noir to produce a white wine. And it's now, believe it or not, even though we're in the heart of Pinot Noir country, our Pinot Noir Blanc is our best-selling wine in our tasting room.
I loved it. And your rosé that I'm having right now is wonderful as well. Very refreshing. I bet that's a huge hit in the summer. And even holiday gatherings, I think, would be perfect.
It is rosé is a close second to the Pinot Noir Blanc, and again, another great story with the rosé. Again, having a 16-acre Pinot Noir vineyard, you have to be creative in terms of having different types of wines for people, especially when they're coming in to have a tasting experience. And so the rosé was another idea that we had about how we could create some diversity. We've since now have planted new Chardonnay plantings up at the new tasting room. And so we'll be venturing into Chardonnay here in the next couple of years. But the rosé in 2014, a little magazine called Wine Spectator actually selected our rosé as one of their top 70 most recommended rosés in the world. There were only
Wow.
eight U.S. wineries on the list. We were one of them, and of course, Brad Pitt and his winery is on the cover. So he grabbed the spotlight, but we were still just blown away by the response that we had received from that. And ever since then, we've kind of been known as the Rosé and Pinot Noir Blanc masters here in the Willamette Valley.
It's
It's
about,
interesting.
I have
Sorry, go
two
ahead.
questions. I'm sorry, Lisa, I have two questions. It's about $30, is that right?
Yeah, the rosé is at $30, and the Pinot
It's
Noir
worth
Blanc
it.
is $34. Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's just for those who don't know, I'm just gonna step back, make one step back. How do you make Pinot Noir Blanc? Blanc means white. So
Yes.
so it's not pink and it's not red, it is a true white color. How do you do that with red grapes?
Yeah, so what we do is we pick our Pinot Noir that we have on our vineyard, but we pick it about 2 weeks early, and we do that because we're trying to um, uh, increase the acidity in the grapes. Because when we go to crush them, we do whole cluster press and we run the juice off, and it spends no time on the skin, so it's not going to pick up a lot of tannin from the skins. And then once we put it into the fermentation process, we put it into a neutral oak barrel, and we do a malolactic fermentation in that neutral oak barrel, which is what gives it the creaminess that you have noted. But it also has really nice acidity because of the fact that we pick it early. And so we're able to get a really nice balanced white wine with some really good characteristics. I think you mentioned they're not over the top in terms of the creaminess. So we're not putting a whole bunch of new oak on this, or no new oak. And again, if we let the fruit speak for itself, and that's really that's something that our winemaker Eric Homaker has taught us and believes in, is that especially in our little part of the Willamette Valley, is to let the fruit do the work and try to stay out of the way as much as possible.
Agreed.
Good. And I think people don't quite understand how you can take a red grape and make a white wine, but it all has to do with how you process it at the beginning and keep those skins away from the grapes so that they don't make a color on it. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a good thing. Now we're back to the rosé, which I thought was very good.
Beautiful.
And it's so both of these wines that we've talked about, this one too also is good for family gatherings, turkey. This one especially is good with spicy food. So I had mine with tacos, and I thought that was absolutely fabulous. And there's some chili relleno going on in there as well, and it stepped right up, and it didn't overpower it, but it wasn't overpowered. Because spicy food can sort of take you out if you're not getting the right pairing. So good for you. That Pinot Noir is I can see why it's gotten some good press. It should. It's really nice.
Thank you.
I think I want to leave the podcast now and go get some tacos for this, because I found a new favorite hot sauce. So now I'm really, I'm going to have to go. They better leave some down there, the rest of this bottle of wine, so I can try this. Because but I think you're really right. And when you think about, even like a late brunch, if you have like a Mexican brunch like we do in Arizona, I can see this being like amazing for, when we get into spring weather and, like you were saying, family gatherings. I'm going to bring up Easter. This is a good Easter wine, I think.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
good Easter wine. Yeah. And
Mhm.
any holiday wine, I think it's a good holiday wine because even 4th of July, there's some people that just don't like the bigger wines, and this isn't a big wine, but it's not a small wine either. So
Mhm.
it's sort of a step up. And I would serve it to even those that by people who say, oh, I don't want any twigs or bugs or earthy stuff in my wines. This is not that. This is really lovely.
Crisp and refreshing is what I
Yeah,
like
the
to say.
refreshing was the first word to me. It was refreshing and really balanced. And I think that's what the last one, the Blanc as well. There's a balance in your wine that you can, like, each sip, if you just kind of suck it back nice and slow, you get these different notes each time. And I think that's
Right.
really an amazing wine where you go on this little journey, and each time you have a sip, you're tasting something a little bit different. And just when you think, oh, this is what this wine tastes like, it goes, no, I got some more coming your way.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like balanced yet complex. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
It's like good music, really
Yep.
good music with dynamics. Hmm.
Yep.
Wow, good
Yeah,
job.
dynamics in a bottle, man. Yeah, it's good. It's good. But the red now, now I'm feeling a little jealous here. Tell us about the red. Ooh.
Oh, the red. So this is a reserve
Oh.
Pinot, about $50 or so.
Yep.
And as much as I love that Pinot Blanc, I really love this Pinot Noir. It's 2021 Prospectors Reserve
Prospectors
Pinot.
Reserve. Yep.
Yeah, that's got to have a story. It's rich. It has depth, intensity. On the palate, it's like a harmonious blend of fruit and savory elements, a little earthy in there, a little earth. This is a nice, lovely wine. This must sell well in your tasting room. I think anybody tasting would bring one home. It's just fabulous.
So one of the cool things about having a family business and being able to, kind of just answer to ourselves in terms of how we decide to release wine. For our Pinot Noirs, what we do is we really hold them back about 3 years before we release them. So this 2021 that you just had was just released on November 1st. It's been a huge hit. We have back vintages in our tasting room, and some of those back vintages can be very hard to compete with. But this 2021 reserve really holds its own. It was a really interesting year. A lot of things happening with heat and heat domes and various things that as farmers we have to really work with. But one of the things about our site and where it's located in the Willamette Valley is we have a beautiful little microclimate there and some amazing soil. And I think the soil, it's called Willikenzie. It's a marine sediment soil, but what this delivers into the wine is a lot of minerality and savoriness. So I that's what I really enjoy about our Pinot Noirs, and I think our 2021 Reserve really highlights that. And then in addition, the way that we pick our reserves is also fun because what we do is as a family we go in with our winemaker Eric Homaker, and we have 5 different clones of Pinot Noir, and they're all in their own barrel program, and then we go in as a family and we pick our favorite barrels. That's an interesting process because we don't always agree on what the favorite barrels are, but it seems like we were able to deliver a really nice Pinot Noir. I think that's very representative of Oregon, and we use a little bit, about 30% new French oak, so a little bit more new French oak on the Prospectors Reserve. And all of those have to be balanced because Pinot Noir is very delicate, very susceptible to mistakes, and that's why I go back again to saying, our kind of philosophy is to let the vintage speak on its own and kind of resist the urge to get too involved.
Ah, it's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about the family story? Because and you know, there's no ghosts in your past, right? Okay. Just had to say it. I had to say it, but obviously, you know, you've got like a ghost mist that hangs out on the farm, right? But tell us a little bit about the family history of this, and then how you guys all decided we're turning cattle to wine. Obviously, you have good fertilizer in the soil out there, you know. Just saying.
Yeah, it's a very rich family history, and I think it's something that when people come to visit, a lot of times they're surprised about it. You know, you'll see a lot of long-term wine people and wine farmers and grape farmers and winemakers in the valley, but we've kind of been through the whole gambit of farming activities there in the Willamette Valley since 1906, when my wife's great grandfather came to the land. And so we've done dairy, we've done beef cattle, we've done all kinds of crops. And in 1996, when I met the Baylesses, they were doing beef cattle, and my wife and I were actually living in China at the time.
Mm.
And we got married in Hong Kong, and Mike and I had sat at a bar, and I asked him how the cattle business was, and he told me that it stinks, literally and figuratively. And then we launched our idea to get into the wine business, and and then eventually to make wine. So we started as grape farmers, and then in 2006 started making wine. And when we started making wine, we needed a name for our wine, and we immediately gravitated to Ghost Hill. And why? Because we have a haunted hill, and one that was haunted and called Ghost Hill even before our family got here in 1906. So it sits on top of a beautiful hill with 360-degree views of the Willamette Valley coastal range on one side, and the back of the Dundee Hills on the other. And
Mm.
back in the late 1800s, the miners that were mining gold in southern Oregon used the road that went right through our farm property to transport their gold to Portland. And
Wow.
one poor guy, he came up late, and he was by himself, and he's camped on top of our hill, and somebody snuck into his camp and killed him, stole his gold, and also in the process stole his horse, or killed his horse. So a mean guy.
Yeah, that
And,
sucks. Yeah.
yeah. And then after that, people that lived in the valley, they saw a horse and rider frequently on top of the hill. And that became sort of a common sighting, common topic of discussion for the locals there. And then over the next 40 years, it became known as Ghost Hill. And so when my wife's great grandfather purchased the property in 1906, I always like to say he got a haunted hill to go along with it, because most of the farming activity happened on the other side of the road. And our new tasting room that we've built up there on Ghost Hill is just we opened that in early this year in 2024. So in some ways, the ghost story is just getting started, I think.
Wow. I do love a good ghost story. That's a good one. Diva Linda, come on, every sip. You never know. It's a
You
high
never
spirit
know.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
spirits can travel. So who knows what I have in my house now? Thank you. No, I'll
Giddy
tell
up.
you though, it's worth it. That wine is perfect.
Mm.
I like a deeper Pinot, and this isn't a real light Pinot. This is more of a medium Pinot that's just lovely. It's just
Thank you.
I mean, it's just really a good. I had it with the mushroom risotto.
Mm,
Oh, that's killer. That
perfect.
was killer. Oh my God,
Ooh.
that
Oh,
was just
earthy and
killer.
earthy. Yeah, yeah.
Earthy and earthy. Yeah. Oh, it
Mm.
was good. So, I give some suggestions in my article about what pairings you might try. They're not hard. They're fairly easy, and I don't know. I think just even if you sat down and had each of these wines on the patio, you would be very happy, and your guests would be very happy. These are all great wines to share with friends, I think, and you shouldn't have any problems with, oh, this smells like a twig, or or whatever. Start with a Pinot Blanc, get them in, reel them
Yep.
in.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
What about the tasting room experience for those who want to come and do the tasting first or have that experience? Are you open daily or weekends by appointment?
No, we're open for walk-ins from Thursday to Monday, so we're closed Tuesday and Wednesday, but we're majority of the week we're open. We always have a family member there, so when you come up to visit us on Ghost Hill, you'll be talking to me or my wife or my father-in-law or my mother-in-law or my daughter or my
Or a
in
ghost on a
some
horse?
cases a ghost on a horse. And we actually last weekend we had an event up there that was very emotional for all of us because we had 4 generations of the family working there at the tasting room all at the same time, and the people that came up to visit, they were, I think, all very touched by that, as we were, obviously, because this is the whole effort that we're taking on here is trying to find a way to keep our small family farm in the family. It's
Mm,
becoming more and more difficult, and we have to be creative and look for different ways to maximize the utilization of the farm property.
mm.
Tell us a little bit about your winemaking vision. You have a winemaker, but I think if I'm understanding the story correctly, the vision comes from you, and then you work with the winemaker to produce a product that you think is representative of the area that you're in. So you speak a little bit to that, how you work with your winemaker, how you decide what it is you want to do. You don't make 50,000 wines. I think, how many wines do you offer for sale? About
So we have a sparkling. We have 2 Pinot Noirs. We have a Pinot Noir Blanc and a Rosé. So we have 5 SKUs, is what we call them, of different types of wine. In the future, we'll have a Chardonnay. You're very correct in that, I would say we're very lucky to have the winemaker that we have today. He's an old family friend, Eric Homaker, classically trained, UC Davis, worked for Tony Soter years ago. Beautiful human beings, married to the Luisa Ponzi. So he's part of the Ponzi family. And I'll just tell a quick
Wow.
story about him because I think it really represents sort of how our relationship with our winemaker is. And I was actually in an interview, and I was asked the question kind of sternly at why Eric Homaker would make our wine. And so I asked Eric to answer the question. And his response is, Cam, I've known your vineyard since the beginning. He said, I've known your family for 25 years. We love your family. I just love your where you are in the Willamette Valley. But probably the reason I make your wine for you today is because I love small grassroots farming and winemaking, and I guess I get to live a little vicariously through you for that way, in that way.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
very touching. And then, most importantly, we know that we have to fill this winemaking in the future, and so we're looking towards the family to do that. And we have, I have a 16-year-old granddaughter who's very interested in becoming a winemaker. And Luisa Ponzi and Eric have offered to try to help her in that journey. So hopefully, in the next several years, we will have one of the family members doing the winemaking as well, which kind of
Ooh,
completes the circle, I think,
mm.
for what we're trying to do.
And nice to see a woman in there too.
Exactly. And that's anyone who knows Luisa Ponzi knows that she's from one of the pioneering families here in the Willamette Valley. and also a very strong proponent of women in wine and not just winemaking, but in the business of wine and all of the things. And she's she's a proponent of that, and hopefully my granddaughters or even one of my daughters can become a beneficiary of that.
That's awesome. That is, we like that.
What's your viticulture? Do you have a team that does that, or you have a captain and he has a team? But I think it's always fascinating to me because of how the viticulture sort of stuff works. You have how does that work for you?
So it's, we've been in the wine growing business for 25 years. I always joke that my father-in-law, he's the farmer in the family. He's been a farmer his entire life. That man could make anything grow. And his son, my brother-in-law, Mike Bayless, the two of them manage our vineyard. They do all of the tractor work, cultivation work, and they do manage. We do have a vineyard consultant and manager called Results Partners, and they provide, labor and when we have, difficulties that we haven't, we're trying to address, then they kind of act as our consultants. But the real farmers are our family, and we're passing that knowledge down into the next generations as well. My son gets very involved in the vineyard too. So you have to be kind of a multifaceted expert across a large uh, different set of skills, including farming, winemaking, sales and marketing, all of those things to be in this business. And the family, I think, really represents. We all have a lot of skills. My wife and her mother-in-law manage all of our sales and marketing and our wine clubs, and I kind of keep things together on the business side. I'm a business person. I've got business training and background, and I always joke that in the wine business, this always seems to be one of the big missing links. So, hopefully, with the skill sets that we have on the farming side, on the sales and marketing side, business side, and hopefully in the future on the winemaking side, we'll be able to have a 100% family operated business here.
That's exciting because you think about all those different skills coming together, but moving forward, because from your background coming in, it's like, okay, let's go into wine. All right. Business skills, all that, all right. But to keep it all balanced and moving forward, and there's always change. The wine is like we were talking about white wines, 10, 15 years ago. Well, even 20, I'm going to say more like 20 years, actually, I think. Diva Linda, it's like 20, 30, maybe, how wine has changed.
Oh
I
gosh,
did want
yeah.
to, and it really has in the country. I wanted to ask about your sparkling wine
Yeah.
as we head into champagne brunches and all
Yeah.
of that. I wanted to ask about
Yeah.
that since, yes, we all love a little bubbles and sparkles around here, especially Diva
Yes.
Linda.
Like everything in our Ghost Hill story, that's also another great story. We started this new tasting room, and we have a small wedding venue there, and we do
Okay.
weddings, and we have weddings. So we needed to have sparkling. And when I talked to Eric about sparkling, Eric said, "Oh, I don't do sparkling." And if you've ever done sparkling, you would understand why. It's a hard project to do. But because of our roots and just connections that we've had, because everybody, our family has been in this valley since 1906. My wife went to high school with Adam Campbell, who's the owner and winemaker at Elk Cove, and so he was our first call, and Adam came up, and he spent a couple hours with us talking about what we were trying to achieve, and he helped us start our sparkling program. We have a sparkling Chardonnay. It's the only wine we've ever made from grapes not from our farm. And having said that, though, we on the new tasting room site, we've planted another 8 acres of vineyard, and so in addition to our 16 acres, and that new 8 acres is going to be dedicated to Chardonnay and sparkling wine. And
Cool.
why? And you mentioned it earlier, Lisa, is that you got to keep ahead of the curve and what's happening. And there's two big things happening. One, Oregon Chardonnay is finding its way onto the map of the world. People are starting to notice Oregon Chardonnay and are starting to really value its contribution. And then I think a lot of people talk about young people and what they're doing with wine and all these sort of things. And what I found, we get a lot of young people up to our tasting room, which is very refreshing, especially when everybody's telling you young people aren't drinking wine. But what I have noticed is young people like sparkling a lot. And so sparkling, I think, is a growing category in the wine market, and I think one that you can't ignore. And we're not. And we've started with our sparkling wine is called Ghost Hill Apparition. So
I love that.
Fun little play on our ghost story there.
I love that. That's interesting about the sparkling wine with the younger, and I think it's because how society consumes alcohol in general has completely changed. I mean, if you look at cocktails going to mocktails, it's become more special, like a special occasion, which is healthier. And that, but that also gets people to understand the value of going to a winery and purchasing wine from a small family, business. I think is important. And so sparkling is also a little on the healthier, leaner side for us ladies. I'm just saying. So there's some, so it makes sense to me about that, but I just never realized that was going on. So but Diva Linda and I always knew that bubbles win.
Bubbles, yeah. We'll have to come back and we'll talk about your Chardonnay when it's ready.
Yeah.
That would be fun. And and how your sparkling wine program is going. Because the sparkling wine, when I used to work in another wine region, it can become a big focus, especially if you have an event center and you're doing weddings. That's huge. It can be bigger than what you do in your tasting room. So I'll be interesting to see if you have enough grapes to you've anticipated the right number of grapes for your event center. Weddings can be they can just overhaul you with the amount of sparkling wine they want. So interesting. Is it lean? Is it?
Oh yeah, it's very, as most of our wines, we try to use what's the best characteristics of the grapes that are going into our wines, and our sparkling. It's interesting because I would describe our sparkling as a little on the festive side. So it's got about 12 grams of residual sugar. A lot of people think that's a lot, but that's still on the dry scale. But but what we're trying to do there is find something that's approachable for everybody. And so that's what we like to try to design the wines to be something that somebody that's coming into our tasting room for a wedding, an event with 100 people or so, everybody is going to enjoy it. So
nice. Bubbles and sparkles, good white wines, good rosés.
This is you're so interesting for a small family outfit. I mean, winery. It is just amazing.
And they have ghosts, and not just human ones.
And great
horse
wine.
ghosts.
It's about the wine. That's why you're on the show, because I just loved it. I just thought it was wonderful.
It is. It's exceptional.
So thankful that you were able to send me 3 bottles of wine that we could talk about today, because they really are special.
I'm glad I'm glad you got the Pinot Noir because I'm very excited about that one too. And I'm even more excited about 2024 because in my opinion, this vintage may be the best wine ever for Oregon. So
Oh, wow.
I can't wait, but it'll be a few years before we'll be talking about that. But really
Can
some
the how long
beautiful.
can the 21 prospector lay down for, do you think?
So I had a person come into my wine tasting room the other day and said that they did not like drink Oregon Pinots that were more than 5 years old. And I said, "Oh, you're really missing out." And so I opened 2008 Pinot Noir and poured it
There.
for him.
Oh,
And
oh,
so, wine, Pinot Noir, like any other wine, red wine, or even Chardonnay, if you make the wine to age, it will age. And, we put the love and care into all of our wines. I think they are good for 10, 15 years. And I've proven the point on a couple of occasions.
oh, well, I need to get to that tasting room and say the same thing. I'll remember that. I'll remember saying that.
Yeah,
And
we'll
say,
drink some old wines, Linda, when if
oh,
you come
wouldn't
up,
that
I
be fun?
promise.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what an experience. Oh my
Yeah.
heavens.
Nice.
As
Very
a matter
nice.
of fact, like right now, I'm offering for this New Year special, we have a 2009, 10, and 11 3-pack vertical that we're selling that
Oh,
I think will
wow.
be a big hit.
That is
Oh,
$165 too for the 3-pack.
wow.
So
Everyone,
Gosh.
so check out the website, ghosthillcellars.com for that. Check that out.
yeah,
That's special. Well, we're all going to have to come to your tasting room. I know Nancy and I will
yes,
be in Oregon this fall. Linda, we're going to be passing you again. Like you're going to be coming home to Arizona and we'll be going there, right? September, August,
Well,
end of August, September. We'll be there. I think
well,
it is. I
please
don't
make
have the
sure you
dates.
put us on your list.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
we have
Oh
to.
my
I mean,
gosh. This is so interesting and the wines are so good. I can't wait to try the others and to actually see the property and maybe walk a little in the vineyards.
Yeah,
it'd be nice.
Special. Thank you very
thank you,
much. Oh
thank
my
you.
gosh.
Thanks for
Thank
joining us. Thank you, Diva Linda, for always finding good wine. I mean, listen, she's the diva for a reason.
That's right.
And that's why her website is allingoodtaste.info. So check it out. And of course, keep
Perfect.
up with us at bigblendradio.com. Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And here it is, all in good taste. Go get some good wine. Start off that new year. Wine should stay on your list of resolutions. Do not give up the wine. No.
Absolutely.
We need to stay happy and healthy. So have some good wine. Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio with travel writer Linda Kissam. Keep up with Linda at allingoodtaste.info. You can read her articles in Big Blend magazines and keep up with us at bigblendradio.com.